Sorry, I was just confused whether I had the right meeting, but I do, so it's fine. Okay, let me just put everybody on to mute and spotlight my video. Okay, excellent. So we can just get started. Welcome to Wednesday evening yoga. Come and find a seat on your mat. Coming into Sukhasana, or easy seat, crossing through the legs. Feel the seat bones connecting to the earth. Remembering if you have any discomfort through the knees, grabbing a block or a pillow, slipping underneath the hips. Just raising the hips up takes the pressure off the knees. So feeling the connection to the earth through the sit bones, sitting up nice and tall, from that lengthening through the spine, taking the shoulders and rolling them back, and taking the shoulders down away from the ears, sitting up nice and tall. Gently closing the eyes, just bringing your focus and your awareness into the room, onto your mat. Coming internal, just checking in, seeing where you're at tonight. Just taking a moment to become mindful and present. Taking this next hour for you, for your yoga practice, to listen to the breath, move with the breath, check in with the body. Breathing nice and deeply now through the nose and exhaling nice and slowly through the nose, starting to find that Ujjayi breathing, our oceanic breath, a victorious breath. Nice long inhales, nice long exhales. Becoming aware of the breath, focused on the breathing, trying to maintain that Ujjayi breathing throughout our practice. Taking the awareness to the pelvic floor, lifting, engaging through the pelvic floor. Coming to our Uddiyana Bandha, our core, lifting up through the navel, taking it in and up, engaging through the Uddiyana Bandha, sitting up nice and tall. Taking your hands to your heart center and Anjali Mudra, our prayer pose. And as you inhale, thinking the word so, and as you inhale, taking all the breath down in through the lungs, down through the belly. As you take the hands down, point the fingers towards the earth. As you exhale, hum, taking the fingers back to prayer pose and pushing up that air and taking it all the way out through the lungs, engaging through that pelvic floor. So again, inhaling, relaxing through the belly as you fill up the belly, the chest with air, saying so. Exhaling, hum, engaging through that pelvic floor. Taking the fingertips back to prayer pose, hum. So, hum. So on the inhale, fingertips towards the earth. As you fill up the belly with the air, exhale, engaging that pelvic floor, pushing the air back up as you take the fingers back up towards prayer pose. So moving with the breath here, really reciting that mantra, so hum, as you engage through the core and relax the core on the inhale, engage on the exhale. Moving with the breath, becoming centered and focused on that breathing. And then coming back to center. Gently open the eyes, taking the awareness back into the room, sitting up nice and tall. Inhaling, lifting the arms all the way up to the sky, reaching up nice and tall. Exhaling, right hand to right side, left arm up over that left ear. Feeling that gentle stretch through the left side of the body. Gaze to the left hand or the right, wherever feels good for you through your neck. Inhaling, coming back to center. Exhaling, coming over to the left as you take that right arm up over that right ear. Inhaling and exhaling, can stretch to that right side. Remember, keeping everything nice and gentle here, no stress, no strain. Just gently warming up through that spine, coming all the way back to center. Inhaling, taking that left hand onto that right knee, right hand gently behind you. You take a gentle twist through the torso, moving the torso towards the right side. And then coming all the way back to the center again, finding that length. And then exhaling, taking that right hand to that left knee, left hand gently behind you. Take a gentle twist in the spine. And then coming all the way back to the center. From here, coming onto all fours, setting up for our cat-cow. So coming onto all fours, just checking that your knees are roughly about a hip width distance apart, knees underneath the hips, hands underneath the shoulders. And inhaling, and just as you inhale, feeling that lengthening all the way through the spine. And then exhaling, keeping that length through the spine. And then the next inhale, coming through the cow, so dropping the belly, lifting the head, lifting the tailbone. Exhaling, coming all the way through to cat, lifting up through that core, dropping the head, dropping the tailbone. Inhaling, coming through into cow. Exhaling, coming all the way through to cat. So in your own time, in your own breath, just take yourself through that gentle cat-cow movement, moving through the spine, articulating the spine, moving with the breath, keeping that nice, long, smooth, even breath, keeping the exhale as long as, if not longer than the inhale, just encouraging the body to relax. Let go of tension, let go of your day, leave it behind. Just becoming focused on you, on your mat. And coming all the way back to center, tucking through the toes, taking the hips back over the heels. And as you exhale, lifting that tailbone up to the sky, coming into a nice, easy downward facing dog. Keeping that downward face dog nice and easy, keeping that bend through the knees. Remember, we're just warming up here. And then starting to walk and pedal the dog, taking a range of movement through the through the feet, the ankles, coming up through the shins, the knees, all the way up the backs of the legs. Remembering to keep that shoulders nice and relaxed, feeling the connection to the earth through the palms of the hands. And then taking a deep bend through the knees, looking forward towards the hands, stepping that left foot up behind that left hand, right foot up behind the right hand, and just keeping that bend, coming into a nice, easy forward fold. Holding here just for a moment or two. Feel the tension start to drip away from the neck and the shoulders, keeping it nice and easy, nice and relaxed. Grasping a hold of opposite elbows, coming into our ragdoll again, just coming maybe that little bit further forward, keeping that bend in the knee, letting the shoulders open, letting the shoulders relax. Hanging here if it feels good, if it feels nice, you can gently swing from side to side, or take a figure of 8 if that feels good for you. Check in, listen to the body, maybe do a quick scan here. Where are you holding tension? Where can you let go? Breathing into those areas, taking some gentle movement through those areas, just encouraging the body to release. Remembering no stress, no strain, only coming to your own edge, always taking the modifications if you need them. Letting go of the elbows, taking an even deeper bend through the knees, start to uncurl through the spine. Coming up nice and slowly, vertebra by vertebra, just gently uncurling through that spine. Slowly, slowly, remembering there's no rush, just coming up in your own time. Coming all the way back to our mountain pose, Tadasana. So coming up towards the top of your mat, just making sure all 4 corners of the feet are connected to the earth. Maybe coming forward slightly onto your toes so you can feel that connection through those 2 corners. And then coming back on the heels and feeling the connection through those 2 corners and the heels. And then gently coming back and feeling all 4 corners, feeling the balance. So baby bend through the knees just to feel that rebound from the earth. Core in, navel engaged, Uddiyana Bandha engaged. Shoulders all the way up and back, down, away from the ears. Just relaxing those shoulder blades down your back. Feel the grace, the strength in this mountain pose. And then inhaling, lifting the arms all the way up through the midline of the body, stretching up nice and tall. Exhaling, coming through into a nice easy forward fold, keeping that bend through the knees. Inhaling, taking a step back with that right leg, dropping that right knee, letting go of those right toes, and coming into Angiasana, our low lunge. So only coming as low as feels good for you. Remembering there's no stress, no strain, certainly never any pain. And just hold here just for a breath or two. If you prefer it to come in and out dynamically, then that's fine. You can do that. Just listen to your body, what feels better for you. Sometimes taking some dynamic movement through the pose just helps you warm up, become that little bit deeper. And holding here just for a breath, feeling that release and opening through that right hip flexor. And then picking up that left knee, taking that left knee parallel to the right, and then sitting all the way back on your heels, coming into Child's Pose, Balasana. Holding here for a breath, remembering that at any point in your practice, you can come back to Child's Pose. And your arms don't have to be out in front of you. They can be down behind you, just resting along your legs if that feels more comfortable for you. And then inhaling, starting to wave your spine forward and coming all the way forward to lying down, face down onto the mat. Setting up for our Bhujangasana, our waving Cobra. Making sure the tops of the feet are connected to the earth, taking the hands just out to the sides of the mat, coming up onto our gecko fingers. Pointing the elbows up towards the sky. Inhaling, coming into that baby cobra. And then just gently waving from side to side here. Taking a nice easy movements. Breathing nice and deeply. Just opening up through the shoulders, the back, encouraging them to let go of that tension. We tend to hold so much tension through our shoulders, our neck. Screen time, hunched over desks. So it's so good just to take that range of movement back through the shoulders. And then gently release, coming back down to center. Taking the hands underneath the shoulders this time, inhaling. As you inhale, engaging through that core, lifting up into tabletop. Exhaling, coming all the way back into that child's pose. Take a nice long inhale. A nice long exhale. And then inhaling, coming all the way forward. At the same time, picking up that right leg, stepping that right foot in between your hands at the front of the mat and returning to our Angiasana, our low lunge through this left hip flexor. So again, holding here for a few breaths. If you'd like to move dynamically in and out of the lunge, just to warm up, encouraging that joint to release. Remembering to move with the breath and then holding here for another breath. Remember, only ever coming to your own edge. It's your practice, it's your journey. Just be accepting of wherever you're at on your mats. And then inhaling, coming up onto the toes of that back left foot. And then taking that left foot forward to meet the right. Feet about a hip width distance apart. Bend through the knees. Coming back into that nice forward fold. Just feeling the relaxation, the ease through this pose. Taking some gentle yes, no movements through the head and the neck here. Just letting it all go. Letting go of your day, letting go of your worries. Just feeling them start to drop away from the shoulders. And then inhaling, taking those hips back as you're about to sit in a chair. Taking the arms up in line with the shoulders. And lifting yourself all the way up, using that core to stand up nice and tall. Exhaling, hands to your heart center. Samastiti. Well done. So we'll repeat everything through the left side. Inhaling, taking the arms all the way up to the sky, reaching up nice and tall. Feel that lengthening through the ribs, that space between the ribs and the ribcage. Exhaling, coming all the way forward, keeping that bend through the knees here, keeping everything nice and easy. Inhaling, taking a step back with that left foot, dropping down onto that left knee, letting go of those left toes, returning to our Angiasana through here on the left side. Holding here for a breath, staying here. This feels good for you, or moving dynamically in and out the pose if that feels good. If you'd like a little bit more, then opening and lifting up the chest, and then lifting the arms all the way up to the sky. And opening that heart towards the sky. Breathing nice and deeply Exhaling nice and slowly. And then gently release, coming all the way back down to center. Lifting up that right foot, taking that right knee back, parallel to the left. And then exhaling, sitting all the way back over onto your heels, coming back into Balasana or Child's Pose. Holding here for a nice long inhale. Nice long exhale. And then inhaling, waving through that spine and taking yourself back down to lying face down on the mat. Taking the hands outside the mat again, tops of the feet rooted down into the earth, fingertips rooted down, elbows pointing up towards the sky. Moving through a full Bhujangasana, looking over opposite shoulders. So inhaling, lifting up and looking up over that right shoulder. Exhaling, coming back to center. Inhaling, looking up and coming up over, looking over that left shoulder. Exhaling, back to center. Inhaling, lifting up, looking over that right shoulder. Exhaling, back to center. Inhaling, lifting up, looking over that left shoulder. Exhaling, back to center. And one more time each side. Inhaling, really using that core to lift you up, using that, engaging through the back muscles along the spine. Exhaling to center. One more time over the left shoulder. Inhaling again, using the back muscles all the way along the spine. Exhaling, coming all the way back down. Taking the hands underneath the shoulders, taking a nice long inhale, lifting up, engaging through the core into tabletop. Exhaling, sitting back over the heels, coming back into that Child's Pose. If your arms are out in front of you, maybe try to walk those fingers a little bit further forward, really feeling that elongation along the spine. As you focus on taking the tailbone behind you. Really feeling that length through the spine, feeling the opening up through the back, breathing nice and deeply. And then inhaling, coming all the way back up into all fours. At the same time, taking that left foot forward, in between the hands at the front of the mat, coming into our Angiasana through that right hip flexor. Holding here again for a few breaths. If you want to stay here, this is where it feels good for you. Or you can move dynamically in and out. Or if you'd like a little bit more, lifting that chest up, taking that chest up towards the sky, opening up through the chest, reaching that heart towards the sky, opening everything up through that front line of the body. And then exhaling, coming all the way back down, taking the hands outside that front foot. Inhaling, coming onto the back toes of that right foot, and then lifting that right foot forward, and taking the feet about a hip width distance apart, bending through the knees, and come into that nice, easy forward fold one more time. Just enjoying the forward folds, breathing nice and deeply. Feel the tension just drifting away from the shoulders one more time. Maybe taking some nice easy neck circles in one direction. And then coming around in the other direction. Remembering it doesn't have to be fast here, it can be nice and slow. Just feeling that range of movement through the neck. And then bending through the knees, taking the hips back in space, lifting the arms up in line with the ears, then reaching all the way up on the inhale, straightening out and lengthening all the way to the sky. Exhaling, hands to your heart center. Samasthiti. Well done. Take a nice long inhale. A nice long exhale. And then just checking your feet are still roughly about a hip width distance apart, maybe taking them a little bit wider. Let's just move some gentle through some gentle swings. Swinging the arms all the way around, really broadening and widening that aura all the way around us, keeping everything nice and loose, everything nice and easy. Keeping that range of movement all the way through the body. And then slowing down, coming all the way back to the center. Standing up first through Namaskara A. So you can start to take the feet together, if that feels good for you. And you can keep the toes together and keep a little space between the heels if there's any discomfort through the lower back. But having your feet together, if having your feet together doesn't feel good, And by all means, hip width apart. So setting up for our Tadasana, feeling all four corners of the feet rooted down into the earth. Engaging through that pelvic floor, engaging through the navel. Soft bend through the knees, shoulders up, and take the shoulders all the way down the back, standing up nice and tall. Inhaling, taking the arms all the way out to the side as you reach all the way up to the sky. Exhaling, coming through to that forward fold, starting to straighten out through the knees here, if that feels good. If you need to have a bend, then that's fine. Go with a bend through the knees. Whatever feels better for you, remembering that everybody's at different stages in their journey. And then inhaling, coming halfway up into the L shape, taking the fingertips onto the shins and using that traction to feel that lengthening through the spine as you pull the shoulders away from the ears and lift that navel in and up. Exhaling, coming back into that forward fold. Bend the straight legs, shoulders away from the ears. Inhaling, take a step back with one foot, take a step back with the other foot. And as you exhale, pushing yourself back into a downward facing dog. Holding here for a breath, taking a nice long inhale, a nice long exhale. And then inhaling, lifting that right leg and taking that right leg all the way up to the sky into that three-legged dog. Exhaling, pulling that right knee all the way into the chest. And then dropping that right foot in between your hands at the front of the mat. Taking that right foot over towards that right thumb, setting up for our high lunge. So checking you've got roughly about a hip width distance between your feet. Engaging through that core, lengthening through that spine. And then inhaling, lifting yourself all the way back up. Standing, coming into that high lunge. Checking that you feel nice and stable here, nice and you're not too wobbly. If you do feel wobbly, then take a wider stance with the legs in terms of the width, not the length. So from here, again, shoulders in, and shoulders back and down, core engaged. And then inhaling, let's move dynamically through the lunge, straightening out through the legs, straightening the arms all the way up to the sky. Exhaling, dropping down. Inhaling, reaching up. Exhaling, coming down into that lunge. Inhaling, reaching up. Exhaling, dropping down. Inhaling, reaching all the way up. Exhaling, dropping down. And one more time, inhaling all the way up. And exhaling and holding here, opening up that heart towards the sky. And then gently release, sticking the hands outside the front foot. And then dropping down onto that back knee and letting go of those left toes. So that right foot's forward, bending through that right knee. Setting up for our hip opener. Taking that right hand inside that right foot. And then walking that right foot forward of that right hand and then taking it out slightly and pointing it up into the far right corner of the mat. So you've got a diagonal line through that foot coming into that top corner. And then holding here and starting to feel that opening up through that right hip. Shoulders away from the ears, core engaged. Staying here, breathing into the hips. Feeling the release and the opening up through those hips. Breathing nice and deeply. If you'd like more, coming down onto those forearms and resting on the forearms. Again, keeping everything nice and easy through the neck and the shoulders. No stress, no strain anywhere in the body. Just breathing here, finding a release, finding an opening. No stress, no pushing, no pulling. Just letting everything sink in towards the mat. Nice long inhales, nice long exhales. Well done. If you were on your forearms, coming up, back up onto your hands. And then from here, taking that right hand back outside that right foot, and starting to walk that right foot back more in towards the middle of your mat. Coming back onto the toes of that back left foot, swiveling that left foot around, so the sole of the foot's on the earth, on the mat, and the toes are pointing slightly in about a 45 degrees. Setting up for our Parsvakonasana, extended side angle pose. Bending through that right knee, taking that right forearm onto that right knee, and then lifting that left arm, taking all the way up and over that left ear. And holding here, feeling that diagonal line of energy shooting up from the earth all the way up through that left side towards that left fingertips. And then coming all the way down through the left fingertips, back down into the earth. Breathing nice and deeply, shoulders away from the ear, core engaged. And then inhaling, wimbling the arms all the way back, coming into our warrior two, opening up through the chest, opening up through the hips, taking the drishti along that right middle finger, shoulders dropping down, breathing nice and deep. And then setting up for our half moon, our Ardha Chandrasana, taking the hands onto the waist here, starting to walk that back foot in slightly, and coming into a balancing pose. So if you need to come to a wall or use a chair, then that's fine. Go with whatever feels good for you, wherever you're at tonight. Taking the weight forward into that right foot, and then starting to lift up that left foot as you take that right fingertips down onto the earth to begin with, till you get your balance. Opening up through that left hip, taking that left foot towards the sky, and then opening up through that chest, taking that left hand up towards the sky. Finding a drishti point for your gaze. Once you're feeling balanced and stable, you can start to play with lifting that right hand up off the earth. And just resting here, rounding down into the earth through that right foot. Breathing in and exhaling nice and deep. And then gently release, coming all the way back to the center. Swiveling the feet around, so both feet are facing alongside of the mat, nice wide legs. And then just bending from side to side again, just keeping that tension-free body here. Just keeping everything nice and loose and open. And then from here, taking those toes and pointing those toes and taking them in slightly, so you can slightly pigeon toe. Starting to straighten out through the legs to your own degree as we move into our Prasarita Padottanasana A, our forward fold. So inhaling, taking yourself forward, really lengthening through that spine. And as you exhale, start to fold forward, coming forward to your own degree, wherever feels good for you, remembering only ever coming to your own edge. Breathing nice and deeply, exhaling nice and slowly. Feeling the opening up through the backs of the legs, engaging through the core. If you need to keep a soft bend through the knee, that's fine. If you can't come all the way down and your forward fold is here, then that's fine too. Really think about lengthening through that spine, keeping a nice long spine, shoulders away from the ears. And over time, you'll be able to come that little bit further and that little bit further. And then inhaling, coming halfway up. Exhaling, walking the hands over towards that left foot. Swiveling everything around so that left foot's now forward and that right foot's behind you. And then from here, picking up that left knee, hugging that left knee in towards the chest and stepping it all the way back to meet that right knee, coming all the way back into a downward facing dog. Taking a nice long inhale, a nice long exhale. And then inhaling, lifting that left leg and taking that left leg all the way up to the sky, coming into that three-legged dog. Exhaling, pulling that left knee all the way into the chest. And then stepping that left foot between your hands at the front of the mat. Walking the left foot over towards that left hand. So again, we're setting up for that dynamic warrior high lunge. So really feeling the lengthening through the spine here. And as you exhale, take a soft bend through that back knee, engaging through the core, lifting yourself all the way back up into that high lunge. Making sure you feel nice and stable. Again, if you feel a bit wobbly, take a wider distance between the feet. Shoulders away from the ears, core in and out, pelvic floor engaged, remembering our bandhas all the way through. And then from here, inhale and taking the arms all the way up, straightening out through both legs. As you exhale, coming down into that dynamic lunge. Inhale, reaching up. Exhaling, dropping down. Inhaling, reaching up. Exhaling, coming down. Inhaling, reaching all the way up, lengthening through that core, lengthening through the sides of the body. Exhaling, coming back into that lunge. One more time, inhaling, reaching all the way up. Exhaling and holding in the lunge, Really opening the chest towards the sky. Exhaling, taking the hands all the way outside that front left foot. Dropping down onto that back right knee, letting go of the right toes. Take that left hand inside that left foot. Walk the left foot forward of the left hand, and then take that left foot and point it diagonally into the top left corner of the mat. And hold here to feel the opening up through that left hip. Staying here in the modified lizard pose, breathing in nice and deeply, exhaling nice and slowly, shoulders away from the ears. Then the release and the opening up through the hips. You can stay here if this feels good for you. If you'd like a little bit more, you can drop down onto those forearms, rest on the forearms. Just breathing into that left hip. Remembering no stress, no strain. Just feeling the release and an opening up here, keeping the shoulders nice and relaxed. Breathing nice and deeply, remembering the breath all the way through the practice. Using that breath to guide and support our practice. And then gently, if you were on your forearms, pushing back up onto your hands. And then taking that left hand and placing it outside that left leg. And walking that left foot back in towards the middle of the mat. Coming up onto the back right toes and swiveling that right foot around so the sole of the right foot's on the earth and the toes are kind of coming into about a 45-degree angle. Taking that left arm, placing on that left thigh, inhaling, lifting that right arm all the way up and setting up for our Parsvakonasana through that right side. Shoulders dropping away from the ears, remembering the bandhas. Really feeling that lengthening, that diagonal line from the right fingertips all the way down to the right toes. Lengthening out through the side of the body, reaching nice and tall as you root down into the earth with that right foot. And then inhaling, windmilling the arm all the way up, coming into our warrior two, holding our warrior two. Breathing nice and deeply, shoulders away from the ears. Hips squared off to the long side of the mat, shoulders squared off. Drishti is the middle finger of that left hand. Breathing in and exhaling. And then taking the hands onto the waist, setting up for our Ardha Chandrasana through this side. So again, taking that back foot just a little bit closer. Starting to take the weight through into that left foot. So taking the weight through into the left foot, taking that left hand's fingertips down onto the earth. As you raise up through that right foot and start to open up through that right side of the body. So taking that right foot up towards the sky, that left hand up towards the sky, trying to open up through the hips, open up through the chest. Finding a drishti point for the gaze, finding that balance. Once you have the balance, you can start with playing, taking that left hand up off the mat. Keeping the shoulders away from the ears, engaging through the bandhas, remembering the breath. And then gently release, coming all the way back to center. Taking the feet nice and wide, and again, let's just move dynamically from side to side, keeping everything nice and easy. Moving with the breath, moving through the shoulders, the legs, the hips, keeping everything loose. And then from here, turning those feet back in. So coming through pigeon toe, making sure your feet are about legs distance apart. Moving through Prasarita Padottanasana. So again, inhaling, finding that length all the way through the spine. Exhaling, side to forward fold again to your own degree. And at the same time, taking a hold in the peace finger toe bind of those big toes. And then inhaling, straightening out through that spine. And as you exhale, coming all the way down into that forward fold. Holding here just for a breath or two. Remembering you can straighten out through the legs, but if you need to take a soft bend, that's absolutely fine. Elbows pointing towards the sky, core engaged. Breathing nice and deeply, exhaling nice and slowly. Maybe taking the weight forward into the toes slightly. Helps you come that little bit further in that forward fold. And then inhaling, coming all the way up to halfway, letting go of the feet. And then walking the hands all the way over to that right foot, swiveling everything around so the right foot's forward, that left foot's behind you. Picking up that right knee, hugging it in towards the chest, stepping that right foot back to meet the left, and then coming down onto your knees, taking your knees about hip width distance apart, maybe a little bit further, and then coming back, taking the hips back over the heels and coming back into that extended child's pose. Holding here for a breath or two, feeling the opening up through the shoulders, feeling the release through the hips, nice long spine. Remembering if having your shoulders out doesn't feel comfortable for you, you can take a soft bend through the elbows, or you can take your arms all the way behind you. Check in. Remember, it's your practice. Everybody's at different stages in their journey, so just be accepting of wherever you're at and enjoy the practice. Listen to your body. Remember, yoga is not about how it looks, it's all about how it feels. So just breathe nice and deeply and enjoy. And then from here, just gently coming all the way back up. And then coming forward and coming to sit on your mat, coming into our Upavista Konasana. So taking your legs into a straddle position, however the straddle feels good for you. And sitting up nice and tall here. If you find that you're getting some rounding through your lower back and you can't straighten out, then grab a block or a couple of pillows and just slip them underneath the hips. And just raise the hips slightly so you can get a straight upper back, a straight lower back. And then just reaching all the way up here, sitting up nice and tall. And then just coming forward to your own degree again. If you can, clasp onto those big toes with your fingers and come into a peace finger toe bind. And hold here. So holding here, if you need to keep a soft bend through the knees to do that, then that's fine. Stay here and come as forward as you can. And then just gently work on straightening the legs. And just come forward wherever feels good for you. Really lengthening out through that spine, shoulders away from the ear, core engaged, flexing the toes towards you as you clasp onto those toes in a peace finger toe bind. Remembering bent knees are fine. And only come forward to whatever feels good for you, wherever you can come in the pose. Breathing nice and deeply, exhaling nice and slowly. And then gently release, coming all the way back up to center. Well done. Shoulders back and down. Clasping underneath the legs, underneath the thighs, just gently bringing those knees together and taking the feet together this time. So coming into our Baddha Konasana. So taking the soles of the feet together and just opening up through the knees and just feeling a release through the knees and letting gravity take effect here. Maybe taking the weight slightly back in the hands, just feeling that pelvic area and that sacral area just reset here. Staying here, that feels good for you. If you'd like to come a little bit further, moving the hips forward towards the heels. And again, maybe just sitting back in the hands, just letting that whole area just relax and rest into the pose. And then coming forward, staying where you are. If you want to, or coming forward just slightly, taking the weight forwards, coming off the backs of the hands at the back, and clasping a hold of your feet like you would the pages of a book, and just trying to open up through the soles of the feet, taking those knees down onto the earth as you open up through the shoulders, dropping shoulders away from the ears. Breathing nice and deeply, exhaling nice and slowly. Just holding here for a few more breaths, feeling that release and that opening. And then gently taking the hands underneath those legs and pulling those knees together. And then from here, coming over into that tabletop again, coming back into that neutral tabletop position. And just holding here again, knees underneath the hips, hands underneath the shoulders, nice neutral spine. And then picking up that right knee and taking that right knee forward, setting up for our pigeon pose. So keeping a bend through that right knee and starting to straighten out through that back left leg, coming into our pigeon. Taking that right foot maybe slightly over and more to that left side of the mat and opening up here and holding here into the pigeon pose. But if you're feeling discomfort through the knee, take that foot back in towards the hip and keep everything nice and tight here if there's any discomfort through the knee. If you can, start to walk that foot slightly more over towards that left side of the mat, but not too much. No kind of yanking of the knee or anything. So only come to wherever feels good for you, wherever you can feel that opening up through that right hip. Breathing nice and deeply, shoulders away from the ears. Just feeling that gentle stretch and opening through that right hip. Inhaling and exhaling, core still engaged. And then from here, picking up that back left leg, and taking that left leg forward, and then taking that left leg and crossing it over that right leg, setting up for our fire log pose. So I'll come this way so you guys can see me. So you're basically just stacking one leg on top of the other, coming into the fire log pose. Sitting up nice and tall, feeling that lengthening through the spine, feeling the opening up through the hips. Staying here, this is where it feels good for you. If you'd like more, just gently taking your hands behind your back, clasping your elbows behind your back, and then just coming into a forward fold and folding over those folded legs. Breathing nice and deeply, exhaling nice and slowly, shoulders away from the ears. Core engaged, nice long inhales, nice long exhales. And then lifting back up, coming back up to center. Gently taking that top left leg and then just moving it over that right leg. So you're crossing that left leg over that right knee, taking that right leg or that right foot in behind that left hip. If having a bent knee doesn't feel good for you here through that right leg, then feel free to take that right leg and straighten it out. Moving into Matsyendrasana, our twist. So taking a hold of that left knee with that right arm, just hugging that left knee in towards the chest as you open the torso and start to look over that left shoulder, taking that left hand gently behind you. Inhaling and exhaling, keeping a nice long spine as you move through this gentle twist. Inhaling, lengthening through the spine, exhaling, twisting. Remembering in the twist, always find the length before you find the twist. And then gently release, coming all the way back to the center. And let's reset before we move through to the other side. So coming back into that nice neutral tabletop position. Again, knees underneath the hips, hands underneath the shoulders. Finding that lengthening through the spine, but keeping that neutral length in the spine. So a neutral spine, but keeping the vertebra nice and long. Breathing in nice and deeply, exhaling nice and slowly. And then picking up that left knee and taking that left knee forward, setting up for our pigeon pose through the left side. So gently walking that right leg back a little bit, coming into our pigeon pose through the left. Remembering if there's any issue through that left knee, keeping that left foot quite close in towards that right hip. If you can, starting to take that left foot maybe more out towards the side of the mat. But again, only ever come to wherever feels good for you. No stress, no strain, any pain in the knee, pull that foot back in. And just hold here in our pigeon pose. Breathing nice and deeply, shoulders away from the ears, opening up through that chest. Nice long inhales, nice long exhales. And then coming through our fire log pose on this side, taking that right foot and leg all the way through and hooking that right leg over the left, so setting up through our fire log on this side. So our left leg is underneath, our right leg is on top, trying to stack the shins as close to each other as you can. And sitting up nice and tall and staying here, dropping the shoulders away from the ears, and And staying here, this is where it feels good for you. If you'd like a little bit more, taking the hands behind you and just gently clasping your elbows behind your back. Inhaling, finding the length. And exhaling, coming into that forward fold and feeling that opening up through the hips. Breathing nice and deeply, really opening up, but only ever coming to your own degree here, your own edge. Remembering everybody's different. Everybody's at different stages, so just be accepting of wherever you're at. And then gently release, coming all the way back up to center. And then taking that right leg, and just taking that right leg over the left. And keeping that left foot in beside that right hip. But if it doesn't feel good, then you can straighten out that left leg if that feels better for you as we come through the twist. Coming into our Matsyendrasana twist, taking a hold of that right knee with your left arm and hooking that left arm around that right knee as you gently open up and take that right hand behind you and look over that right shoulder. But remember again, inhaling, finding the length, and then exhaling, finding the twist. Inhaling, finding that length, and then exhaling, coming through that twist. And one more time, inhaling, finding the length, exhaling, coming through that twist. Letting everything go, coming back to the center, unwinding through the legs, coming back into that neutral tabletop position, just for a moment, holding here. Knees underneath the hips, hands underneath the shoulders. And then inhaling, taking that right leg all the way out and that left leg behind you, and just resetting everything through the spine, nice long spine. Exhaling back to center. Inhaling, taking that left arm all the way out in front of you, that left leg all the way behind you again, finding that length all the way through the spine, all the way through the limb. Exhaling back to center. And then from here, just coming to lie down on your back. Setting up for our bridge breathing. So just lying down, keeping a bend through the knees, taking the feet just outside the hips. Shoulders resting down into the mat, hips resting down into the mat. Taking the palms of the hands, just gently placing them outside the hips. And then inhaling, and as you inhale, lifting up through the hips. Coming into the bridge, and at the same time taking the arms all the way up over your head. Exhaling, coming all the way back to center. Inhaling, reaching all the way up. Exhaling, coming all the way back to center. Inhaling, reaching those hips up. Engaging through the core. Lifting the hips towards the sky, resting the hands behind you. Exhaling, gently letting go of that spine, rolling through that spine all the way down onto the mat. Making the inhale and exhale match the movement, so making that inhale last as long as it takes you to get to the full bridge, and making that exhale last as long as it takes you to come all the way back down to lying on the mat. Noticing which do you have to slow down. Is it the breath? Is it the movement? Just checking in with the body here, becoming fully mindful, fully present. One more time, reaching all the way up, and exhaling, coming all the way back to center. Pulling the knees in towards your chest, coming into our Apanasana, our wind relieving pose. Holding here for a breath or two. Just hugging those knees in, letting the shoulders drop away from the ears. Breathing nice and deeply. And then taking a hold of those soles of the feet, coming into our happy baby pose. Taking the soles of the feet, facing them up towards the sky as you pull those knees in towards the armpits. Keeping that lower back connected to the earth. Not letting that lower back ride up. Keeping that lower back resting on the mat. Facing the soles of the feet and clasping the soles of the feet facing up towards the sky as you pull those knees in towards the armpits, towards the chest. Resetting through that sacral iliac joint, Just letting everything come back to neutral. Breathing nice and deeply. Done a lot of hip opening work. So just letting those hips reset. Breathing nice and deeply, remembering the breath, remembering that nice long inhale, that nice long exhale. And then gently release, and letting your legs fall out the sides of the mat as we set up for our Shavasana, our relaxation, the most important pose of our practice, where we seal in all that good energy, where we seal in all the benefits of our practice. Letting the legs just fall out to the side, letting the arms fall out to the side, shoulders sinking into the mat, hips sinking into the mat. Hands could be facing up towards the universe, or they can be facing down if you want to feel more grounded. You don't have to lie on your back. If it's more comfortable to lie on your side or your belly, then just come there and just stay there and relax and let go. Switching off the monkey mind, letting go of the thoughts, trying to slow down the fluctuations of the mind. You start to think of your mind as a lake or the sea, and the waves are all those thought patterns. If you can start to just smooth those thought patterns down, coming into a nice clear lake, a nice smooth lake or nice smooth sea. And through that smooth lake and smooth sea, you get to see, you can see through the water. It makes your vision that little bit clearer. Move more easily into the subconscious, so you can just smooth down that mind. Letting go of the breath, letting that breath return to its normal cadence now. No more ujjayi breathing, just letting that breath go. Letting go of the bandhas, relaxing through the pelvic floor, relaxing through the core. Just slowing everything down. Your focus and your awareness and sounds in the room. So maybe some sounds outside the room, outside. Starting to notice those sounds. Feeling the vibrations of those sounds. If they start to come against your outer ear, and then make your way down through your inner ear. Feeling those vibrations move through the outer ear to the inner ear. Coming all the way through. You're starting to feel them in your mouth, on your lips. Coming through your jaw. As they do so, they relax the jaw, relax the lips. Coming down through the throat, feeling the sides of the throat release and let go. Coming down through the shoulders, the arms, coming into the hands, the palms, the fingertips. From that connection to the earth, through your hands. Relaxing through the chest, the core. Coming down through the spine. Feeling all the gentle curves, natural curves in the spine. Coming down through the hips. Feel the hips start to sink into the mat as you let all that tension release. Bring your awareness to your thighs, your hamstrings. As you bring your awareness there, you can start to feel everything melt away through the knees, the shins, the calf. Bring the ankles, relax, the tops of the feet, the soles of the feet. Coming down into the toes, maybe feeling the space between each of the toes. As the toes release and let go, all that final last remnants of tension, just leaving the body, sinking into the mat. You feel your whole body sinking into the mat, becoming heavier and heavier. And then as the body lets go of all that tension, Mother Earth takes the tension away from the body, absorbing all that tension, nurturing. You can start to feel the body become quite light, almost as light as a feather, as it hovers over the mat, all the tension leaving the body, sinking into the floor. And your body becomes nice and easy, stress-free, tension-free, light as a feather floating just above your mat. Staying here, floating. Smooth mind, light body. And then from here, slowly, gently, begin to bring your awareness back into the room. Time to drop back into the body, becoming more weighted as you sink back down onto the mat, taking some gentle movement through your fingers and your toes, through your hands and your feet. Inhaling, lifting the arms and taking the arms all the way up over your head, reaching up nice and tall. Exhaling, hugging those knees in towards your chest, giving yourself a nice big hug. And then gently rocking over onto your side, coming into that fetal position just for a moment, just for a breath. And then easily making your way back up nice and gently into that nice easy seated position, coming back into Sukhasana. Sitting up nice and tall. Gently closing the eyes, keeping your hands on the knees or on the lap. Moving through some counted breath and pranayama exercise just to close our practice. So taking a nice long inhale, a nice long exhale. And inhaling, 2, 3, 4, hold. Exhaling, 2, 3, 4, hold. Inhaling, 2, 3, 4, hold. Exhaling, 2, 3, 4, 5, hold. Inhaling, 2, 3, 4, hold. Exhaling, 2, 3, 4, 5. Hold. Inhaling, 2, 3, 4. Hold. Exhaling, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Hold. Inhaling, 2, 3, 4. Hold. Exhaling, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Hold. Inhaling, 2, 3, 4. Hold. Exhaling, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Hold. And letting go of that counted breath, returning to the normal breathing, checking in, noticing how when you extend that exhale, it really helps calm, relax the body. Any point you're feeling a little bit stressed, just focusing on the exhale, lengthening the exhale, really helps relax. Gently opening the eyes, taking your hands to Anjali Mudra. Inhaling, so. Exhaling, hum. Inhaling, so. Exhaling, hum. And one more time, inhaling, so. Exhaling, hum. From my heart to yours. Namaste. Hope you enjoyed your practice this evening. Hope you enjoyed some of those hip opening moves. Move it looser through the hips. And I hope to see you guys all again soon. Namaste.